Surely her mother must be a saint. Surely she must want her husband and only child to regain happiness. She had risked all to achieve her own. Alice Stanley, second daughter of Viscount Blunt, had been presented at court and was about to take her place in society and find a good husband. With beauty, fine birth, and a dowry of £9,000, her path must have seemed smooth. Instead, she'd set eyes on low-born Daniel Potter in an inn-yard, at that moment in his shirt-sleeves and loading boxes into a cart, and instantly lost her sanity. Within days they had been meeting in secret, and within weeks they'd been off to Gretna Green. Lord Blunt could well have cast his daughter off and even destroyed the portrait, but he'd given it to her along with her dowry. He had not, however, seen or communicated with her again. That had been a sadness, but it hadn't overwhelmed Lucy's mother's happiness here on Naylor Street in the City of London. Until last year. Lucy pulled a handkerchief out of her pocket to blow her nose. If her father came in, he mustn't find her weeping. But she'd often thought she'd been orphaned on that cruel day. What was she to do if this was the new pattern of her life? What if things didn't change today? When the door opened, she looked up, afraid to hope. It was him. She straightened, smiling, but trying not to let her flaring hope show. "Good day, Papa." "Good day, pet." He walked forward, looking surprisingly at ease. He glanced once at the portrait, his expression sombre but not agonized, then back at her. "I've had an inquiry for your hand." The words were so unexpected that they made no sense. But he was here, coming to sit in his big leather chair that faced hers across the fireplace, looking, yes, truly, as if the darkness had passed. He wasn't a big man, for he'd been raised in a foundling home where skimpy food didn't build height and bulk, but these days dressed in the finest clothes, and his wiry frame was elegant. Beneath the elegance he was physically strong, but more important, he had strength of mind, cleverness, and wisdom. He'd built his vast fortune from nothing, and she admired him above anyone in the world. She pulled her wits together enough to say, "A marriage proposal, Papa? And made through you? From whom?" "An unknown party, represented by a lawyer called Polyphant." She chuckled. "How ridiculous!" Wonder of wonders, he shared her smile. "Isn't it, pet? But intriguing. Polyphant represents a titled gentleman." "That's even more ridiculous." "Some fool of a lordling," he agreed, "broke through folly in seeking a rich dowry. All the same, there are many men of business who'd pay to see a daughter married into the nobility, to have noble grandchildren." "Not you, Papa." "You don't think it'd be a feather in a foundling's cap to have a grandson inherit a title?" His eyes twinkled with the joke. How long was it since she'd seen that twinkle? "You'll have to make do with nephews," she teased back. "The Honourable Jeremy Fitch, who will one day be Lord Cordros, or Percival Stanley, due to be Viscount Blunt." He didn't seem amused. "Plenty of city daughters would be happy to exchange a handsome dowry for a coronet, pet." "I suppose that's true." "You have a very handsome dowry." "Too handsome. You'd no need to increase it."
"No reason not to, with business prospering as it did during the war, and you helping me from time to time."
"But I thank you again, especially as the 30,000 is mine now that I'm 21.
"I was probably rash to make it so, but you've always been a sensible girl."
Still, he seemed uneasy, and she didn't know why. Did his grief in some way play a part? "Tell me more about this odd proposal, Papa."
"There's nothing more to it. The solicitor assures me that Lord Penniless is of good character and health, and will treat you with loving consideration."
I'm sure I should be moved to tears of gratitude. But instead I wonder, how could a stranger even know the size of my dowry?
"He could assume that my only child would be generously dowered, but there are lists for sale."
"Lists? Like auction catalogues? How shabby. But how do the list makers know?"
"It needs only one person to spread the word."